Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Let me ask you a question. What does a senior pastor of a Christian fundamentalist church have in common with an OnlyFans model? If you answered the exchange of goods, you're partially correct. And this benefit happens to benefit one more so than the other. And the only reason why I say this is because one has everything to gain and the other everything to lose. As in the case of Pastor Dwayne Dinkins. Now, I'm going to point out a fundamental problem that many of these, how can I say this lightly, people who are struggling with their sexuality within the church, a big mistake in which they tend to make. And that big mistake in which they tend to make is to be making out with others who are not a part of their congregation. Yes, you heard me right. See, when you're going to play around and explore, it's better to play around and explore in your own backyard. And I'm going to explain the ins and outs of that. Here's the thing now. When you are a well-known pastor and you're on your way up, you're hobnobbing with the rich and famous, you're hobnobbing with the well-to-do, the creme de la creme of the Christian world, like T.D. Jakes, who brought you in as a mentor. And what T.D. Jakes does a lot of times with people who's mentoring is that when he goes away, he allows them to step in his place and to give a sermon. So people are looking at that and they are knowing who you surround yourself with. And many of these OnlyFans models, escorts, prostitutes are looking to make a name for themselves. And one of the worst things in which you can do is to choose someone like that to play around with. See, you would be a lot better and it would have been a lot smarter to play around with men in your own congregation. And the reason why I say this, because in many of cases, they're going to be married like you. And if they're not married like you, why don't you choose someone who is married like you? That way, both of you can take your secrets to the grave. Now, I'm not for, cheating on a spouse who you made a commitment to be monogamous with, to love, cherish all the days of your life. But let's face it, people are going to do what they're going to do. Regardless if I made this video or not, people are still going to play around who have that inclination within themselves. So I'm just simply saying, instead of causing yourself, your wife, your children, your congregation, all of this hardship, why don't you be smart and stay away from these OnlyFans models, these escort, these prostitutes who you're paying for? They have something to gain for this. They just don't care. Like the one here. I mean, ass open, letting you go in there raw, filming that, setting you up, making it known that, well, we better hurry up so you can get back to your wife. He knew damn well what he was doing. You were set up. You went along with it. There was no shame in this game to be doing all of that on tape because he was looking at a bigger picture for himself. to make a bigger name for himself. Or mistress, or I should say Mr. to like a famous pastor. I brought down a famous pastor. I was the one who came between this up and upcoming new pastor out of Florida named Dwayne Dawkins. These guys are looking to make a name for themselves. They have nothing to lose. You have everything to lose. Like right now, rumors are going around that you did not preach at your church for the past couple of weeks. So what they're probably planning on doing with this unfortunate incident that happened where you were not careful or cautious, they're going to ship you out. You're probably going to be shipped back to Atlanta, shipped back to somewhere smaller. So you won't be a problem. So you won't be a stain. So you won't be an embarrassment to them. Now, I'm not saying the act that you did is something to be ashamed of. But I do think that a grown man like you should have been a little more cautious and careful in your activities. And these people, these pastors in the church, so many of them get caught up into these younger guys who are not in the church. They're just asking for trouble. I really cannot understand is when the church is full of men like that. No, full of men with homosexual tendencies. Why don't you play there? That would be a lot safer. Your secrets probably would never get out. They have everything to lose, just like what you have to lose. You going out there in the secular world, you are just not equipped, sophisticatedly equipped to deal with these models who have nefarious plans. You're sitting up there just trying to get your rocks off. It's a relief for you. They're sitting up there trying to social climb. It's a completely different ball game that they're playing. And these pastors are going to find that they are going to lose all the time. They're going to bring about just a chain of hurt pretty much. Hurt family members, hurt congregations, hurt careers. Now, families got to be uprooted after the children got situated in a school to go someplace else because you made a bad choice and a bad decision, or because you couldn't just control yourself, contain yourself. That's what it's going to take. Many times in life, sacrifice is a must. And even if you're in a gay-on-gay relationship, we know that there are plenty of gays that fool around like straight people do. We know a lot of times playing around or being unfaithful or cheating can cause a relationship to end. It can change lives, ruin lives. So yes, sacrifice is a must. So the moral of the story is, if you're going to fool around, be smart about it. Be clever. I mean, think about what you're doing with the upper head. Stick with people who have just as much to lose as you do. And remember, these OnlyFans people, guys, models, escort, prostitutes, they have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain by fooling around with someone who is well known. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Saying Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.